Hey everyone, how's each and every one of you are doing on this Thursday evening or Friday morning, wherever you're viewing this video clip. I hope that each of you are having a good week and staying cool from this unseasonably warm. Actually, it's a lot warmer than anticipated, but it's okay. And that's summer temperatures. Other than that, let's begin. This week we'll be going over the analyzing and solving polynomial equations in the Precalculus summer course. Well, this debating on how many problems and how long should I take in each video. I have decided to do 2 parts instead of all in one, because if I do 4 problems in one, it takes a long time to go over, and as well as doing the other portions. So bear in mind what I'm going to do in this instance. All right, this will be part 1 of 2. All right, as you can see in this that we're using the quadratic equations. Mostly is like it's equations, but it would determine whether you be quadratic or whether you factor or not. So we'll look at, let's go over something before we start. We have a factoring reference worksheet. I will attach this and other lecture notes into the Google Classroom page as soon as they get done here. So I'll give you a sample of this. This GCF, greatest common factor. This is the explanation. Differences of squares, perfect trinomial squares, sum and product, decomposition. And there's other ones. We have square of a sum, square of a difference, difference of squares, difference of cubes, and sum of cubes. So no need to write all this down because it takes so little time to write and use the examples. But don't need to worry. It's going to be attached to this week's post. Okay? So you can print that out. That will help you with your assignment and look at the lecture videos as well. All right, I'm going to do problems 1 and 2. All right, I'm going to put this to the side. All right, so we have on problem 1, we have x to the 4th minus 5x squared minus 36 equals 0. And these are the things they're asking for. Number of complex roots, possible number of real roots, possible number of imaginary numbers, possible number of positive real roots, same thing, a possible number of negative real roots, positive rational roots, and roots. Okay. So far, is everything okay to this point, folks? All right. Let's begin. Let's do the first one. Number of complex roots. The way I do remember by looking at this narrative, this problem, this portion, is looking at the first term, which is x to the 4th power. All right. So far, so good, right? All right. X to the 4th root. Remember, number of complex roots by looking at the first term. What's the number on the exponent? 4, right? That's our first part. That wasn't too bad, right? So just in case you miss any steps, don't worry. I will explain it to you on the side. All right. Any questions on this first one so far, on this first part? On number 1. All right. Let's see. The rest is going to determine how we're going to factor this, okay? All right. We can go for a little bit of a bumpy ride, but it's okay. All right. Remember I told you math is like a jigsaw puzzle? And this is what you're doing right now, folks. All right. Don't worry about the rest until we are finished, okay? Okay. Let's begin. I'm going to factor this. factor x to the fourth minus 5x squared minus 36 equals 0. I should rephrase this question. Is this factorable? Is this equation factorable? I gave you a minute to think about it. All right. If you said yes, you're correct. Because we could have two groups of parentheses, right? So I'm going to put it right here. Okay, so far so good, right? So we look at the first term, which is x to the fourth, right? Which is, I believe, x squared on both sides, on both parts of the equation. All right, x times x squared equals x to the fourth. So far so good. All right, let's look at this. I'm going to put different colors. Okay. All right. So far, so good. Okay, let's look at the last term, which is 36. All right. This part is going to be pivotal in determining all. It's part of your possible one of these four. Okay. One of these here. Okay. Actually, be more specific. All right. So let's do this. I'm going to write this down here. Factors of 36. All right, what are the factors of 36? 36 times 1, 18 times 2, right? 12 times 3, 6 times 6 is 36, 4 times 9. Any more factors? Okay. All right. Remember this portion. Like I said, it's going to be part of your answers, okay? All right. Let's go back here. Which number that gives us 36 fits with negative 5x squared? Which of these factors? We know that it's not 36 times 1. We know it's not these three because it doesn't equal to 5, negative 5. All right? So far, so good, right? So we could eliminate that off the top, right off the top. So it's between 6 times 6 and 4 times 9. I believe it's 9 times 4 times 9. All right. Well, here's the difference. The signs, right? Where it goes here is, let's put the bigger number 9 on here, the first factor, and the 4. Negative 9 plus 4, that gives us negative 5x, negative 5. So it does match. Don't forget to put 0 equals to 0, because you're gonna do factoring in a moment. Okay. So any questions on this part? All right. Let's do this part. All right. Okay, let's do this. We know that 9 and 4 are perfect squares, right? Do you remember back in early algebra? Algebra 1 and algebra 2? We know that. So we're going to do this. Should we focus in on the second part, second parentheses, or the first? I think we should go over the first because we were trying to make sure that it's going to be a factor out. So it's x squared minus 9 equals 0, right? Okay, so we're going to factor out. I'm going to write this down. Factor. Okay. We know it's going to be 2 parts, like the last time. All right, so far so good. We're going to have a minus and a plus. Which number do you think? What's the square root of a 9? 3, right? 3 times 3 equals 9. So far so good. Let me make this much clearer because it looks like it's all together, but it's not. There you go, folks. Any questions so far on this part? All right. Okay, let's do it separately. X minus 3 equals 0. X plus 3 equals 0. And if you do the basic math on the first part, you have 3 to both sides. We cancel the 3's, right? That x equals 3 for the first part. And you do the same thing, it'll be the opposite. Take subtract 3 to both sides of the equation. And this will be canceled out. Bring down the x. 0 minus negative 3 is negative 3. That is our second part. All right. So far, so good, folks. All right. So far, so good, everyone. Okay. All right. Let's focus on this part. I'm going to move this up just a bit. X squared plus 4. This is where it gets a little bit, not bad, but a little bit tricky at some point. I'm going to tell you why. We know that, we know it's going to be 4 is the square root, of course, right? But in this instance, we're going to subtract 4 to both sides. I'm going to show you why. Cancel the 4's out. Bring down the x squared. We have equals 0 minus negative 4. That gives us a negative 4. All right. This is where I'm going to have to explain. I would explain why. All right. You have x squared equals negative 4. In order to get x by itself, we have to do this. The x equals, remember imaginary numbers? Okay. Remember imaginary numbers. All right. Plus or minus. Okay. And put the square root of 4. Remember remember that? Imaginary numbers. All right. So far, you're okay, right? All right. Then, in order to get this off just a bit, we have to multiply by which number? It's a negative, right? A negative 1, right? Remember this? Let me move this up just a bit. When you have a negative number, it'd be as I. Remember our i's? We'll place this in here. Negative 1. I'm sorry. My apologies. Negative 1 as I, right? When you see the square root, we'll put this negative 1 as I. Let me go back here. X equals plus or minus, open parentheses just a bit, negative 1 times positive 4. that turns to a positive. That's how you get the negative 4 right there. Okay, negative 1 times 4. All right. Then you could do this. If I do remember. Oh, forgot something. Hold on. Hold on a second, folks. Hold on a second, folks. Okay, I was close. I was right. Okay. All right. I'm sorry. I was right there. I do apologize. Okay. You see this part? We have to do something next. Plus or minus I. What is the square root of this? Will turn into 4. Right? What is the square root of 4? 2. Right? 2. Plus or minus 2i. So, in other words, to separate it, expand it, actually, negative 2i, positive 2i. That's our third and fourth part. Oh, hold on. I don't know how to circle this. It's okay. Don't need to worry. Okay, there you go. So we have we have the x's 3 and negative 3, negative 2i, and positive 2i. So we have 4. All right. So any questions on this part? Okay. All right. Let's move on to this part. All right. So the question is possible number of real roots. How many roots do we have? It varies. It's between, you have 2 roots, 0 roots, or 4. So the answers could be 4, 2, or 0. Okay? So that's what I'm referring to. These are the ones I just circled. Those are considered to be roots. Okay? So far, so good, folks. Or everyone, I'm sorry. Everyone. All right. Next, possible number of imaginary roots. Same as the previous one. 4, 2, or 0. All right. So we have the possible number of real roots and the possible number of imaginary roots are 4, 2, or 0. I don't know why, but this is much more explanatory than I'm explaining right now. Okay. So that's why that's what I'm seeing as I'm doing the work. So I'm doing my very best to explain this part. All right. So far, any question, everyone? Any questions, everyone? Class. All right. Possible number of positive real roots. It's gonna be 1. See, 1 and 1, right? It's the same thing. 1. Same thing with the possible number of negative real roots. It's the same thing. All right, that is itself. So far, that covers 2 through 2, 3, 4, 2, 3, 4, 5. 2 through 5. All right. So far, you're okay in this portion? All right. Remember these and these are going to be something significant. Watch. Possible rational roots. All right. These are the possible roots. Possible rational roots. I'm going to put this in order. Let's do 1, positive or negative 1, positive or negative 2, positive or negative 3, positive or negative 4, right? Just go with the flow. Positive or negative 6, positive or negative 9, positive or negative 12, positive or negative 18, and positive or negative 36. I believe it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. There's supposed to be 9 numbers with a positive or negative sign in front of it. That is the factors. These are your positive rational roots. Possible rational roots. This will help save a lot of work. That's why I ask how many, what the factors are 36 or whatever number. These, the one I told you listed here, I will put possible rational roots. And that's the answers for that. Any questions on that part? Okay. Now we are going to do the roots. What are the roots? The one that's circled here, right? Doesn't matter what goes first. Yeah, let's do this. Let's do the eyes. Positive. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter to me. I'm going to be quite honest with you. I'm going to do 3 and negative 3, 2i, and negative 2i. Those are your roots. Remember the complex roots, the number 4? How many are there? 1, 2, 3, and 4. That is your answer for the roots. There you have it. Your first problem is complete. Any questions on the first one? Remember, you're more than welcome to stop the video at any time to look over the steps to make sure you got everything on point. If there are no more questions, let's go on to number 2. Give me a second. I should have done this, but it's okay. I am doing it. I have it in my notes right here. All right. Okay. All right. Here we go. Number 2, we have x cubed plus 3x square minus 14x minus 20 equals 0. All right. Let's do the first one. Number of complex roots. Remember, which term do we look at? First term, right? And what's the number on the exponent? 3. That's our magic number. 3 is the complex roots number. All right, so far so good, everyone. All right, this, let me move this down just a bit. Move this down. X squared plus 3x squared minus 14x minus 20 equals 0. Question: is this equation factorable? And he has a yes or no. If he said yes, you are correct. All right. We could do this. Actually, we can do one part. Actually, we could, let me see. Give me a second to think. No, let's do this first part. We have two factors, right? All right, like this. We know that x would go inside here first. X cubed, x squared goes in the second, in the long one. All right, so far so good. All right, let's look at the factors of 20. Right, factors of 20. Now factors. What numbers do you have? All right, let's go. We have 20 times 1, 10 times 2, and 4 times 5. Any more factors of 20? No. Okay. In order to make this work, we know that 20 and 1 will not work because it will kind of mess up everything in particular. All right? All right. So we know that 4 and 5 will work. And what do we have here? Okay. We'll put a plus here. Plus 5. Right? And then we had to do the rest. All right. Let's figure out the rest of the problem. The rest of this portion. All right. Remember, you could use synthetic division, long division, or synthetic. What do you prefer? Let's do the synthetic. All right. Synthetic division. If you want me to do the long division, that's okay. Just let me know in the comment section. I could work that out. Okay. On Google Classroom. Okay. Remember this. Okay. We have the first part right here is a positive 5 that turns into a negative 5 on the outside, okay? And then you see the rest of the terms. Yes, we have the rest of the terms. X squared is 1. -3, -14, -20. Let me move this a little bit. Okay, so we determined the first term outside is -5. and use the original equation to be on the second part. Any questions so far on that notion? All right. Okay, let's do some math. That's arithmetic, actually. The one we go down, move down the one right here at the bottom. What is -5 times 1? -5. We can do our basic math. What is positive 3 minus -5? And -2. Okay. So far, so good, right? Then you do -5 times a -2. That gives us a positive 10. Then we have -14 minus -14 plus 10. That gives us a -4, I believe. Yes, a -4. Then we have a -5 times a -4. That gives us a positive 20. And when you see a -20 plus a 20 plus 20, that will cancel out. It will be a 0. Okay. Here's our final terms, our next terms. We see we have an x cubed. This will be what downgrades from an x cubed to a x squared, right? All right. Once the x squared is done, this will be, after x squared will be x, -2x, right? And then -4. Those are the terms in this spot, right? The remaining two are a -2x minus 4. All right. I hope I didn't confuse you or anyone else, but this is how I do this. This is how I remember doing this. A lot of people have different ways of math, but this will help anyone who has difficulty. So, any questions, from anyone on this synthetic division? All right. Let's go to the next part. It's a different color. Okay. I'm going to move this over. I'm moving the x squared, x plus 5. And then we have x squared minus 2x minus 4 equals 0. All right. We have two separate equations, right? Based on these two factors, right? We know that x plus 5 equals 0. We know the answer will be a -5 when you do the arithmetic. That's first. Okay, -5. That's one part. Let's move this over. X squared minus 2x minus 4 equals 0. Question. This is the one I'm going to ask you. This is where I want to explain what it is. Is this equation is it quadratic? Remember, quadratic, right? Remember the formula for quadratic. I'm going to move this up here. I'm going to make quadratic formula. Quadratic equation, actually. That's a better word. AX squared plus BX plus C equals 0. Oh, hold on. My apologies. Plus C equals 0. Is it similar to this? We're not without the signs, of course. The signs are different, but is it similar? Yes. So we can use a quadratic equation for this problem, for this portion, because it takes a lot of time in doing it. All right, let's label it. Any questions on this? Okay, let's label it. A B, and C. A is 1. B is the second term is -2. C equals -4. All right, we have our ABCs. Now we can use a quadratic formula. Quadratic formula is this doohickey here. I'll use a different pen, because that way you'll know what I'm talking about. Okay, remember this formula? X equals -b plus or minus square root of b squared minus 4ac over 2a. Remember that? Okay, wonderful. Then we could do the work. Let's plug in those numbers in, okay? I'll put this. I will do the modifications, okay? It should look like this when you're actually going to do the work. I'd rather do the work because this will help you understand what's the portion, okay? So far, everyone's okay to this point? All right, let's see. Before I do, I want to make sure I got it right. Okay, I was right. Okay, I'm okay. Okay. All right, let's do this together. We know that negative times negative, they give us a positive, right? What number? 2, right? All right. And let's do this part. I'm going to do an extra step, okay? Let's do the work. Okay, we have in B, -2 in parentheses. That gives us 4, I believe. Yeah, 4. 4. Oh, I should have done this. It's all right. I'm going to sit on the side. Okay. Do it right here. We got 4, right? 4 minus 4 times 1, that gives us a -4. Then times a -4 is a positive 16. Positive 16, right? Positive 16, right? What's 4 plus 16? That gives us that gives us 20, right? All right, question. On this part, what are the factors of 20? If you put in the calculator, it'll be square root, it'll be 2 square root of 5. This is why I'm going to show you how I get to this part. Okay, let's do this. All right. We have factors of 20. Let's do the factors of 20. 4 and 5, right? Is 4 is the square root? Yes. We got 2 times 2. So, our final part here is, you see this? This will be outside the box. 2 and the square root of 5. Watch. Okay, you see 20? Does it match? Yes. So we have, yes, it does match. So now we could do 2 square root of 5 over 2. All right? Any questions so far? All right. Are we done yet? No. No, we're not done. We are missing something. When you see this, we divide, right? What's 2 divided by 2? 1, right? Plus or minus. This will be 1, so we don't have to put 1 in there. What's remaining? Square root of 5. Or you can expand it. 1 plus square root of 5. 1 minus square root of 5. That's our second and third part into one of these problems, okay? Any questions on this part and that? All right, let's go here. Let's go through 2 through 5. All right, possible number of roots. Number of real roots. We know it's a 3, right? 3 or 1. 3 or 1. Okay, 3 or 1. You have 3 roots or 1. 1 root, really. See right here? 1 root. Or it could be 3. That's the possible answers. Any questions on that? Okay. Second, possible number of imaginary numbers. You see these roots here? That's our imaginary. That's 2. Or 0. So far, so good, everyone? All right. Possible number of positive real roots. What's a positive real root? 1, because the other ones are negative. So we have 1 here. And then possible number of negative real roots is 2 or 0. Okay, we got 2 through 5 done. All right. Any questions on the last 2? All right. Let's look at the positive rational roots. Remember this from the last problem? Those are your possible rational roots. Let's do this. Positive or negative 1, positive or negative 2, positive negative 4, positive or negative 5, positive or negative 10, positive negative 20. That's our rational roots, possible rational roots. And our roots are negative 5, 1 plus, remember here from this part, 1 plus square root of 5, 1 minus square root of 5. Those are, how many roots are there? 1, 2, and 3. Complex roots that we're looking for is 3. Is a match. So I hope I did explain the best I could in this problem. I'm fixing to work on the other two in a moment, but right now I'm going to stop here for now for this part 1. Any questions from anyone? All right, folks. I'll be doing part 2 momentarily. Till then, thank you for patience and diligence, everyone. Have a good day. I'll see you in a little bit, actually.